With the start of the session, I would like to invite Ms. Shalini Warrior for the opening remarks. Shalini ma'am was appointed as the Executive Director for Federal Bank with the effect from 15th January 2020. She joined the bank on 2nd November 2015 as the Chief Operative Officer with her primary responsibility being operational excellence. Ms. Shalini Warrior is a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and stood first at the All India level in 1983. Ma'am deserves a huge round of applause for this. Thank you, audience. She's also a certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers. Ma'am has nearly been in the banking experience for 3 decades, and prior to joining Federal Bank, she worked with Standard Chartered Bank, a leading multinational bank. She handled multiple disciplines there across various geographies, including India, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, and United Arab Emirates. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence, and I invite you towards the dais.
Thank you very much for those warm words of introduction. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for coming here on day 2 of the Invest Kerala Global Summit. As was explained earlier, this is going to be a discussion on how the ecosystem enables fintechs, digital companies, etc., to thrive in this ecosystem. What is it that is being created as an infrastructure within India as a whole, as well as within Kerala? So that's really the purpose, and I have a very good panel of speakers who will assist me in that process. But prior to that, it was important for us to kind of set the context of where India and Kerala are going in this whole ecosystem. And no one better to do that than Manian. So let me start off by welcoming Manian. Manian is the MD and CEO of Federal Bank, took over this role about four months back, prior to which Manian's been a career banker with Kotak Mahindra Bank, and has seen that from an NBFC evolve into a universal bank. He's worked extensively in this ecosystem of banking, financial services, etc., and has done a lot of work with fintechs and nurturing that entire fintech ecosystem. So Manian, over to you for a few words, and then we'll get into the panel discussion. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning, distinguished guests, industry leaders, the panelists, friends. It's a privilege to stand here today before you at Invest Kerala, an event that is more than just about investments. It's about belief. The belief that Kerala is not just a land of immense beauty and rich culture, but a land of limitless opportunity. Before we get into the specific topic about banking, fintech, and digital ecosystem, which I am sure with as illustrious a panel as this will get addressed in detail and depth as we go along, I thought I'll make some broader comments about Kerala and how the emerging Kerala story feeds into this topic of today. So I'll keep myself at a broader level, then get into the details, which I am sure they are more equipped to handle. For long, we have admired Kerala for its backwaters, its governance, its literacy rates. But today, we must see beyond that. A state that is ready to stake its claim on the economic landscape of India. To most of us, particularly as I have begun traveling into Kerala in more depth in the last 4 months. Before that, even to me, the first image of Kerala was always the image of an artist in red adornments and green painted face, the image of Kathakali, of a Kathakali artist. Yes, Kathakali is not just a dance form, as we all know. It's an elaborate visual spectacle. And for me, Kathakali represents what Kerala is in many ways. It is not just the dancer, it is the perfect harmony of the dancer, the singers, the instrumentalists, the rhythm, the audience's engagement that creates the entire art. The Chenda's booming beat, Maddalam's deep resonance, Ilathalam's delicate chime, and the Sopanam's evocative voice, and Mudra's expressive gestures all come together to tell the story. Remove one, and the performance loses its depth. Kerala's economy needs to be much like Kathakali going forward. It has to be the perfect blend of the institutions, entrepreneurs, workers, investors, policymakers, and innovators that has to make the system work. Just as Kathakali's beauty comes from its synchronization, Kerala's strength has to come from how well the industry's workforce and the visionaries align themselves. Today, this platform, Invest Kerala, provides a unique opportunity for bringing together many of the talents that are key to shaping Kerala's economy. We have bankers, fintechs, and many others who are part of this Kerala's digital ecosystem present here today. Like the Sopanam singers who invoke the mood of the Kathakali performance, Kerala's bankers, policymakers, and financial institutions have laid the foundation for sustained growth. Kerala has produced some of the strongest financial institutions in India. Banks that didn't just survive the nationalization wave, but actually thrived and expanded beyond that. Today, 4 of these Kerala-grown banks continue to be the oldest private sector banks in the country. And I have the privilege of leading the largest one amongst them. Let me assure you that Federal Bank, as the largest among them, promises to be the perfect growth partner for Kerala and its people. Beyond banking, Kerala is also home to some unique industrial successes. Did you know that at one point, British markets were flooded with Indian handloom textiles? British women were so taken by them that they were called calico madams. Calico refers to the cotton fabric that originated from Calicut, made by traditional weavers called Chalians. Kerala has in the past shaped global industries with its craftsmanship and innovation, and even now, some success stories continue to inspire us. The biggest dental lab in India is in Kerala. The company that supplies steel castings to Mitsubishi, MAN Turbo, and BP, Kerala. One of the world's leading manufacturers of blood bags, Kerala again. This state has been birthplace to these institutions that have redefined industries, challenged norms, and created opportunities beyond its borders. And as someone who represents one of these institutions born here in Kerala, I take immense pride in carrying forward Kerala's legacy of resilience, innovation, and excellence. But even great things must evolve to meet changing times. Stability is good, but stagnation is not. It is time to build on this legacy and expand beyond it. The Chende artists who create the powerful beats of Kathakali performance are much like Kerala's industrialists or healthcare and tourism professionals and the large educated workforce as well. Setting the rhythm, driving momentum, and ensuring that performance never loses its pace. As the industry's minister, Mr. Rajiv, said in a recent meeting, that Kerala has attracted investments worth 44,000 crores in just the last 3.5 years. This is definitely a step in the right direction. The Mission 1000 initiative is helping scale MSMEs to 1,000 crore enterprises. And from April 2021 to March 2024, more than 2.65 lakh MSMEs have been launched, attracting investments close to 18,000 crores. After a challenging period during COVID years, tourism has made a remarkable comeback over the last 2 years. In 2023 alone, an impressive 2.25 crore tourists visited Kerala, highlighting its appeal to both domestic and international travelers. When I read about the K-Home scheme in the papers, I was immediately reminded of the Minka renovation program of Japan. This initiative transformed old rural homes for modern use while preserving their unique architectural heritage. Unlike the Japanese version, which was not government administered but had significant government collaboration, the Kerala model sees the state playing a much more prominent role. By repurposing vacant homes into tourist accommodations, Kerala is seamlessly integrating into global strategies to invigorate its economy. These innovative approaches not only enhance tourism infrastructure but also provide homeowners with lucrative additional revenue streams, making it truly win-win situation for everyone involved. The state's allure extends beyond tourism. it is also perfectly positioned to become a leading destination for medical tourism. In fact, medical tourism for Ayurveda has been growing at 20 to 25% every year. The state has been attracting patients from across the world. Apart from tourism, which has huge revenue generating potential, medical tourism is something that needs to be explored even further. A substantial number of doctors from the state have studied at the top medical institutions, but the real game changer is the cost advantage. Look at this. A heart bypass surgery in US costs about $144,000. In Mexico, it is 20. Thailand, it is 24,000. And in Kerala, it is about $8,500. World-class yet affordable healthcare, that is what Kerala brings to the world. The Minukku Vesham in Kathakali, known for its soft, graceful and radiant appearance, represents Kerala's people to my mind. Minukku is the silent strength. It doesn't need grand gestures to prove its worth. But sometimes the quietest strengths need the loudest amplification. And for Kerala, the Minukku is its people. To me, Kerala has always been an enigma. In a state that produces some of the sharpest minds, the most industrious entrepreneurs, and most skilled professionals, walk into a hospital in London, a tech firm in Bangalore, or a trading house in Dubai, and you will most probably find a Malayali at the helm, shaping industries, driving innovation, leading businesses. And yet, for decades, success seems to have often come at a cost: the need to leave home. The assumption that to grow, one must go elsewhere. The best opportunities are outside. That prosperity lies beyond Kerala's borders. This must change, and I can see it changing already. Kerala has achieved the highest growth in regular wage jobs among all major states in the last 5 years. 40.5% of its workforce is self-employed, but 38.9% of earn regular wages, and rest rely on casual labor, as per a study by India Ratings and Research. Kerala is home to about 36 million people, with almost 70% in the working age group and a literacy rate of 96.2%, which is the highest in India. The state's urban population has grown by 15 to 20% in the past decade, and yet, unlike most parts of the country, Kerala does not have a stark rural-urban divide. The quality of life, infrastructure, and amenities remain almost uniform across the state, making it a compelling place to live and work. Kerala is and must continue to focus on its ecological balance and offer a pollution-free environment with social and physical infrastructure that can attract people to return home and set up businesses. We must focus and enhance the livability index of some of our larger cities. In the BFSI sector, 75% of the recruiters are now looking beyond metro cities and considering tier 2 cities as their next hiring destinations, with 38% of them even willing to consider tier 3 cities. For IT, 60% of respondents of a recent Fitch survey anticipated hiring from tier 2 cities, and 30% were expecting recruitment from tier 3 cities. This presents a huge opportunity for all youngsters in Kerala. Kerala's fintech sector, valued at around 2,000 crores, is expected to grow at a rate of 15 to 20%. The state is home to over 200 fintech startups, and over the past 5 years, 500 crores in funding has been secured by fintech startups in Kerala. A very interesting feature of state's fintech ecosystem is its inclusivity, with approximately 15% of these startups being led by women. Initiatives like Kerala Startup Mission, supporting over 3,900 startups, is making Kerala a hub for innovators. We too can capitalize on these strengths of our people, our thriving small business, quality of our workforce, our expertise in technology, and our livability in our cities. Every global economic hub, whether it is Dubai, Singapore, or Hong Kong, stood at inflection point before transforming themselves into what they are today. Dubai was once just a modest trading post in the desert, but strategic investments in infrastructure, technology, and trade turned it into a global business powerhouse. Singapore, and I relate Kerala more closer to Singapore, And Singapore, with its limited land and natural resources, invested in human capital, technology, and finance to become an economic miracle. And I think I see Kerala model uh, possibly replicating the Singapore model uh, going forward in the future. Hong Kong, of course, leveraged its position as a gateway to China, transforming into a financial epicenter. These regions didn't wait for the opportunity, they just created it. Each faced demographic and geographical constraints. Each overcame them by focusing on their greatest strengths. Kerala stands at a similar turning point. Kerala, with its limited land availability, will find it difficult to create large, sprawling factories. We have to recognize our limitations, but businesses which involve high skill, precision, automation play will be the strength of Kerala. We must focus on service industries like tourism, technology, medical, healthcare, and of course, the topic of today, the financial services, fintech, and digital. We can also focus on precision engineering and high value added engineering services and manufacturing. The SMEs can form the backbone of new industrial resurgence of Kerala. During my recent travels to Middle East, many people approached me expressing an ardent desire to return to Kerala and set up some units or start businesses. A few years ago, this sentiment was far less common. Our top ranking in ease of doing business reforms highlights the state's remarkable progress in creating a more business-friendly environment. As we look ahead, Kerala holds great promise and potential. We have to make sure this potential is realized. Now it is time for the Kathakali-like collective effort of Kerala's institutions, entrepreneurs, workers, investors, and innovators. Each has a role to play, and I am confident together we can. Now, Kerala must perform. In Kathakali, there is a moment called Pagarnatam, the point where the performer is no longer just acting, but has fully transformed into a character they portray. Kerala has reached its Pagarnatam moment. We are no longer preparing for success, we have to demonstrate success. Thank you. Let me introduce the next session. The next event is a panel discussion on thriving ecosystem for banking, fintech, and digital innovation. As I spoke earlier, in the Kerala ecosystem of educated workforce, education institutions, right living conditions for people puts Kerala in an ideal position and makes it poised for the next level of growth in banking, fintech, and digital space. My best wishes to the panel members. Banking, fintech, and the digital ecosystems are important pieces for the way forward in the Kerala story. And Kerala has built a strong foundation in this space. Let this discussion provide valuable insights, spark new ideas, and help us navigate the opportunities and challenges ahead with greater clarity and purpose. Once again, Nanni Namaskaram.
Thank you very much, Manian. The analogy of Kathakali and its correlation to Kerala has come out quite strongly, set the groundwork for this panel to take the discussion forward. But before that, we do have a couple of other announcements.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, for your words. So, due to time constraints, our keynote speaker, Mr. Manian, has to leave earlier than expected. So, before that, as a token of appreciation and love from our side, we request him to accept a memento. And to present the memento to Mr. Manian, I would like to invite Mr. CJ George, founder and managing director of Geotech Financial Services. Sir, please.
Welcome to Kerala. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Right now, we move on to the panel discussion, and I hand over the stage to ma'am, Ms. Shalini. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, and Manian, once again, thanks for your keynote address. So we'll get started. I think context has been set very well by Manian, the benefits that Kerala offers, and some of the challenges we will face. I've got a very impressive panel, and I'll get started. So Rahul, let me start with you, okay? I mean, you founded and run a very successful fintech. I think it's reached a stage where people don't say pay by UPI, but phone pay hai kya, phone pay hai kya. So that's what one hears. As the founder and somebody who's created this enterprise, tell us what the journey has been like, and more importantly, what are some of the attributes that have shaped you and PhonePe, which the audience can then relate to?
Thank you, Shalini, and thank you for the organizers of the Kerala Global Summit for having me here. Yeah, it's on. Our success, like always, is 90% a lot of luck and 10% of hard work. I'll focus on the 10%. I think one of the things that genuinely has helped us achieve the scale that we are at today has been a sheer focus on the problem statement that we embarked on. Very quickly, I was at Flipkart before starting PhonePe, and there were key moments in that journey which basically made it extremely clear that unless digital payments at the infrastructure level get solved for the country, our transition into a digital economy is not going to be possible, right? Cash on delivery, great innovation, but at scale, it's a nightmare to actually manage cash. Scalability of payment systems with events like the Big Billion Day, which now is norm, used to be impossible. We used to crash all the payment gateways in the first 10 minutes, right? And this was even when Tatkal was still there. And many such other key pivotal moments made us realize that we have to solve payments. One of the things that I believe sets us apart is that for us, payments is not a means to an end. It is not to create a lending ecosystem. It is not to actually create a financial services ecosystem. We believe that we need to solve payments for the sake of payments at the scale of the population for the country, and then opportunities emerge from there. And I think that's a very nuanced differentiation, because a lot of times fintechs are associated with trying to create opportunities where the money is, and payments is only a means to doing that. We don't treat it as that at all. We are very proud to say that we are profitable as a company on payments as a business, and we've been continuing to solve payments for the entire country going into the rural, irrespective of whether we see a lifetime value of a user coming from the rural sector on financial services. So I think that is one of the things that I believe sets us apart. Outside of that, there are the luck factor plays into the fact that some of the decisions that we took, the big ones, like leaning in hard into UPI when UPI was launched, leaning in extremely hard into expanding into the tier 2, tier 3, and the rural merchant acquisition through COVID and the pandemic, with a view that this is going to be the new norm once we are coming out of this, where digital payments is going to be a way of life, and therefore setting those at the infrastructure rails for the country was a very long view, and it was something that was a very large bet. Some of these have to be taken as companies where your conviction you need to put behind ideas where the results may not be very immediate. The third one that I think is something that has been my learning and has held us in good stead is to actually follow a very strong partnership model. And NPCI has been a phenomenal partner. They own UPI. They are the rails for the country. And co-innovating with them, co-innovating with NBFCs, co-innovating with banks to try to actually become that, what we look at ourselves as an intelligent distribution layer on top of the financial ecosystem of the country. And we try to play that role and maximize opportunity to that, versus trying to actually say that can we further slice a small pie into smaller pieces and try to get into manufacturing. So we don't get into manufacturing. We like to be an intelligent distributor, and we like to partner. So some of those things I believe are the attributes that have made us successful. Outside of that, the only thing that I think personally I have learned is to be extremely patient in this space. If there's one thing I take away is try not to move too fast unnecessarily when there's too much friction, but bide your time, work closely with the ecosystem player, work closely with the regulator, and good things happen. So patience, I think, is the main key.
Thanks a lot, Rahul. I think that articulates the journey very well and some of the attributes. For those of you in the audience who don't know, you can ask Rahul offline. He has a very strong Kerala connection. So he'll tell you more about that offline. And I think you made a very good point about NPCI, which really leads me to you, Giri. For all of us in the banking industry, in the financial services industry, broader industry, NPCI is the go-to guru for anything. You know, everything and anything that happens, we all head towards NPCI. How has NPCI created an entrepreneurial kind of ambience within NPCI and within the ecosystem? You know, when the Global Fintech Festival happens, if some of you are in Mumbai at that time, the scale is daunting. And generally, the general kind of stock on the street is, even before any bank has thought of it, NPCI has executed it. So that's the general feel we get, which is great. So just give us a sense of that. And, you know, where can some of the people in the audience who are aspiring to become fintechs, etc., draw upon that, that energy that NPCI gives?
Thank you, Shalini, for all the, on behalf of the NPCI, for all the praise. Still, we continue to be a platform on the back end. Someone will say that phone pay hai kya, GPay hai kya, rather than asking UPI. Whenever I visit a merchant, I do correct them, it is UPI, not phone pay. So, coming back to this, it has been a phenomenal journey. What we do as a practice to get into the innovations. Internally, we have, for the employees, we have hackathons we run. We get the employees to present their ideas, come to the hackathons and demonstrate their models. And obviously not everything will work, right? Some of them, which are good ones, we take them into a project mode and then see how it goes. Not that every project will work, right? So, but we keep trying. That is the essence. It is necessary that to think and put the ideas on the table and try keep working on them to make it a success, right? So that is one thing we do very profoundly on internal, and also we collaborate a lot with the ecosystem. Not that it's very important to have collective thinking. We need the power of everybody to pitch in, contribute, and show the way, and then obviously you can work and deliver. It's not that NPCI with 1,000 people delivered everything. The entire ecosystem has played a great part in making it what it is today. So we collaborate a lot, particularly in the fintech world. So we do run a lot of programs. Fintech Propel is one which is running right now. So it is more for the entrepreneurs or the new fintechs to get them onto the same platform, discuss on what are all the trends, the technology trends, what is the regulatory things happening. It also provides the platform for them to connect, networking, get to people, get an opportunity for funding, market opportunities. So we do a lot of stuff on that. We have a lot of names. Fintech Yatra is one. We got the fintechs to come and present to our employees. The employees interact with them. And also we get an idea of where the market is going, right? What are the problem statement to solve for, and try to address them. So culture is one thing. Obviously, that is also one that contributes to innovation, right? Well, Rahul said that go slow, take it easy, and then see how it. So we are on the other side. We say that move fast, fail fast, right? So this is not necessarily something is right, wrong. Everybody has got their own views, right? No, we want to be a deep tech company. That is what we are trying to work on. So that gives a lot of scope for people to try and come up with ideas, experiment, fail. Fail responsibly, obviously, you cannot be failing fatally, right? No, you get finished, right? So we try that. The fourth one is we focus a lot on learning, right? The company gives a lot of scope for learning. The program that HR runs is learn while you earn. That is, we have tie-up with the IITs, IIMs. So we give the opportunities for the employees to enroll themselves in these institutions, study there, get themselves up the scale. And also we run a lot of internal workshops, customized trainings for the employees who are their area of interest. And we do also do the rewards and recognition. We have this coding challenge. That's very famous nowadays. Last 2 years we are running this. So where the employees do go and do code. Generally what happens is that you learn coding, right? Not necessarily it is practically you do something. This coding challenges gives an opportunity for employee to come prove his skill and get a badge, obviously, along with that some financial benefit. The badge, something like Ninja, you have got Wizard, you have Supreme, you can wear it on your, like it is something like Lions Club, you say, I'm a lion, someone says, I'm a CA, right? That's how it is. So these are all things coming together with the ecosystem contributing. That's how we are getting on the learning curve for innovations.
Thank you very much again. So one of the points that Giri mentioned, which is important, and the audience must kind of pick it up, if any of you aspiring entrepreneurs, fintechs, etc., the hackathons that NPCI runs, and RBI's fintech department also runs a series of hackathons. RBI, our regulator's fintech department, also runs hackathons. It's a very, very useful conduit to kind of get the exposure required. Win, not win is kind of, not the most important thing, but it's the exposure that comes from it. And one of the things I, having worked now in Kerala for some time, realized that the exposure is limited. So one thing that we encourage people who come and talk to us is, go ahead and participate. You may win, you may not win. That is not the most important point. The point is to participate and get that exposure which is there. So all you aspiring entrepreneurs there in the fintech area, please look out for these hackathons. They're very useful in my view, and having served in some of them as a jury, etc., I can testify to that. Thank you. Chandan, if I can move to you now. Clearly, fintechs can be successful, and Rahul referred to that, if you have a close collaboration partnership between banks, NBFCs, etc. Muthoot is a household name for all of us in Kerala. We grow up seeing Muthoot around, and Muthoot's really evolved into that, and that's where you have taken on the role as a CEO of Muthoot Digital, which probably was not something we would have thought of a few years back. Tell us a little more about Muthoot Digital, and how exactly is this collaborative kind of atmosphere working? What are some of the things you're doing in that area?
Thanks, Shalini. Good morning to everyone. Just as an introduction, I represent Muthoot Papachan Group, which other name is Muthoot Blue. So one of our key mission statement is how do we uplift small businesses and common man through financial inclusion? And to that, we all know that in our country there are about 60 million micro entrepreneurs, like our neighborhood kiranas, right? And their cumulative financial need is upwards of $250 billion. Now we are talking about a scale of 60 million of these. And we are at a mission of serving them, uplifting them. And in today's world, if you were to do it at that scale and with efficiency, it is important that you take care of two areas. One, you participate in ecosystem where these customers are there. And second, you need to use technology. For the first part, what we have done actually is in last, I would say, 12 to 24 months, we have now started partnering with few of the large fintechs in this country, which are serving these small entrepreneurs. Second thing what we have done is we have worked out and created end-to-end digital journeys on the back of the Jam Trinity, UPI of course, and the whole India stack. How do we create from lead creation to lead nurturing to even the final loan disbursement also end-to-end digital? Now with this particular setup, we are now proudly saying that we are serving a very large part of that customer ecosystem on the back of the digital footprint they are creating, like for example on UPI. And we are able to create far greater financial inclusion in the I would say, in the remotest of our country, across the country. So this is one area we have been working on. Second, of course, thanks to RBI and RBIH, ULI is now becoming a truth. On the back of ULI, now we are working on creating, or our endeavor is to create an integration with our platform. So we have built actually a financial services super app for our customer base. And the endeavor is to create right kind of product where we can serve small businesses. So these are the areas where we are actively working on.
Thanks. So a couple of references that Chandan made are very important. India is probably the only country that I know of, or at least that I work extensively with, which has a fintech department within the regulator, RBI's fintech department, And RBI also has an innovation hub, which Chandan referred to. The innovation hub is doing a lot of work in the area of fintech innovation, the latest being the Unified Lending Interface, ULI, which is literally the next UPI. Today, UPI is a household name for all of us. ULI will be a household name because you can do plug and play of various things. So any emerging fintech in this area of lending doesn't really have to scratch his head and try and find out where to go for all these APIs, where to find them. You just head towards RBIH and you can get everything in that mold, So thank you for that and bringing that reference. I'll switch gears a little bit and, bringing you in, Himanshu. We were chatting on the sidelines over here. Kerala is definitely a state of SMEs. Manian mentioned it. If you look up any of the research, you'll see that. And the latest thing that the industries minister has spoken about is to scale up SMEs to 1,000 crore kind of turnover. At least identify a pool of them who we can scale up. And with, banks like us are doing some work with the government on that. CII, which I work with extensively, is doing work. You were mentioning some very interesting stuff around SME IPOs. While may not be necessarily directly relevant, I thought it's important for you to bring that perspective in, because even SMEs need finance options, etc. And NSE has done a lot of work in that space using digital innovation as the bedrock for it. So for the benefit of the audience, help us on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Shalini. And thanks a lot to Government of Kerala for having us as a part of this session. So quickly, so the platform, what Shalini right now told, this is known as NSC Emerge. So basically at NSC, NSC is the umbrella. So currently we are, under NSC, we are having two platforms. One is, which is catering to large corporate companies, which is known as our NSC main board, where companies like Tata, Wipro, L&T, Infosys, they are listed. Second one, as per the guideline of our regulatory body, SEBI, we came up with a separate platform which is known as NSC Emerge. So NSC Emerge is the platform for the listing of small and medium enterprises. So how it's beneficial? So currently, just to tell you, share with you a couple of numbers. So currently we are having close to 602 companies across India which are listed at our SME platform with a fundraising of more than 16,000 crore, and the market capitalization is currently more than 1,85,000 crore. So this is on Pan India. Happy to share from Kerala, even in and around Kochi itself, we are having 3 companies listed at our SME platform with a fundraising of close to 61 CR. Okay, so now talking about the structure of this particular platform, on one side, this particular platform provides opportunity to small and medium enterprises. When I'm saying SME, so basically one of the basic criteria for this platform is a company which is having a 3 years track record, operational history, with a 2 years positive cash accruals and positive net worth. In principle, they can go ahead for listing at exchange SME platform. Okay, so this particular platform, we have seen even companies raising less than 10 CR through IPO. And I would like to mention this platform not only helps companies for raising a fund, because if your intent is only to raise fund, there are several other platforms available. But this platform also provides an opportunity to create a global visibility, because although your company is getting listed at NSE SME platform or exchange SME platform, but the trading of the shares is done at the same terminal. Okay, so tomorrow if your company is doing good, the trading terminal remains same, whether it is a main board company or SME company. Now, apart from that, also when you are talking to any one of the large corporate companies, maybe or MNCs, the time when you are saying, so ma'am is here, she can probably, as a banker, she can relate to it. The time when you are saying, I am a listed entity, the perception about your company is getting changed. Okay, you are coming under certain regulatory guideline, you are following certain norms. If I will put the name of your company in, probably at exchange website or in Google, I can see some basic, details about your company. So that gives a credibility to your company. Tomorrow, as a SME company, you can go and provide e-shops to your employees, which is one of the pain area for company to retain, firstly to attract and then to retain a good talent employee. So that's where this platform helps you to not only attract but to retain employees. So this is on one side. Another side, when we are talking about, let's say, investors or maybe state government. So certainly, let's say one company, when they are getting funding, when they are growing. So this platform, through this platform, when companies are growing, so these companies are providing more opportunities, more employments for different level of employees, be it white collar, blue collar jobs. So at the end of the day, it is bringing more investment in the state. It is providing more opportunity in terms of the employment to the public. So let's say if I'll talk about these three companies where they have raised close to 61 CR. So these investors must be, if not FIS, then they must be from across the pan India. We never know. Probably there would have been some investor based out of North India. So this is the platform which is created for the purpose of kind of a supporting SMEs. And once you are getting listed at SMA platform, in due course of action, we are giving opportunity to migrate from SME to the main board. So out of the 602 companies, there are already 142 companies which were listed at SME platform, and today they have migrated from SME to the main board. And as ma'am told, she is also part of CII. So with support of CII, we have done several programs in Kerala itself. And these three are just a starting off journey. There are lots of companies which are in, in the process of coming up with IPO. So this is about a quick initiative which is taken under the guideline of SEBI. Thank you.
Thanks, Himanshu. I just thought it was important to bring that perspective in, though it may not be directly relevant, because Kerala is a state of SMEs. The industries minister, etc., doing a lot of work in that space, and aspiring to kind of get onto SME, emerge, and thereafter into the main exchange will help a lot. Not just in terms of funding, as Himanshu said, but also the governance practices around it. We bankers kind of look at that very carefully while we're evaluating companies. So thanks for that. We will take a couple of questions from the audience after I do another couple of rounds over here. So keep your questions ready and we'll make sure we get enough time for that. Giri, if I can bring you in now. Financial inclusion is obviously a big agenda for the government as a whole in India, and NPCI has been doing a lot of work with things like Aadhaar-enabled payment systems and UPI on future phones, etc. Any innovative trends in that area that you think fintechs in Kerala can start thinking about, and how's been the progress so far?
The financial inclusion has been a center of all our thinking right from the word go. It has never changed, fortunately. Because of two reasons. One is obviously we also we're a not-for-profit company. We are for public good. Second is there is untapped market. There's a business opportunity, right? So opposite sides of it. So we have been in this space. We do a lot of work on two things in financial inclusion: putting money into the account and helping the ecosystem to use the money, right? There's are two ways of. So putting the money into the account is Aadhaar based. It is like we have the mapper, we have got about 80 crore other numbers in the mapper. We route the transactions based on that. So the government, we help the government to reduce the pilferage, deduplication, a lot of benefits out of that. And also the time to the beneficiary is very fast, right? Government decides today morning want to give money, next 2 hours they can put the money into the account. There is no middleman, there is nothing else in between. So that is on the one side. Second is on the how do the user consumes the money, right? One is we do AEPS, where there are a lot of business correspondents, 18 to 20 lakh business correspondents are working in this space on daily basis. Almost 10 lakh business correspondents are active, which help the ecosystem to use the money. But fintechs coming here, you can also look at how you can enable the last mile for the beneficiaries to use the money in much better way. That's what the opportunity for fintech to think about.
Thanks for that. Just switching a little bit into AI and ML, no conversation on fintechs and digital innovation can conclude without talking about AI and ML in today's world. So clearly that is another area in which, in my view, given the Kerala ecosystem we can play a very big role on. As an example from Federal Bank, we work extensively with a Kerala-based startup, Riafy. I don't know if they're around, but Riafy Technologies, and our entire chatbot and everything is run by that company. They are Google's partner worldwide. They do a lot of innovative stuff in this area, and it's a small entity. It's not a very large entity. Kerala Startup Mission has played a very key role in nurturing that entity, and obviously banks like us use them extensively. I do believe that's an ecosystem that can clearly thrive in Kerala because of the attributes that Manian mentioned, the availability of skilled talent, the exposure, and other things. Land is not one of the big things we have, but we have a lot of other stuff. So, Chandan, if I can start with you, and you give us a sense as to how this is working out for you in the Muthoot, digital area. And then Rahul, if you can come in after that as to what some of the work you're doing in PhonePe.
As far as machine learning is concerned, we use specifically in 3 areas. One, machine learning models gives us to give unique experience to the customer who are visiting our platform. It is curated for them. The second use case we work on is to do or create early warning signals on the whole lending space. And the third area we are working on actually is this whole digital transaction monitoring, specifically from a cybersec standpoint. On the AI side, again, there are about 3 areas we are working on. One is to give enhanced customer service, like chatbot you talked about. Now there are far evolved version of chatbots which we use actually, where you can use Varnak actually, wherein people can combine Malayalam and English or Hindi or English, and you are being given on a real-time experience. Second, we are using AI for the faster loan processing as well. And finally, on the CRM side of it. So these are the use cases where we are using AI and ML.
Rahul?
So I think at PhonePe, just given the sheer scale that we operate at, we have more than 55 crore users on the platform, and we process more than 30 crore transactions on a daily basis. It's pretty much ingrained into the product at every part of both the consumer journey as well as all the back-end processing to be able to use machine learning effectively. So for example, like Chandan mentioned, user tracking, user journey in terms of what is the next best recommended action for a particular user on the platform, so that they become more and more aware of all the sorts of payment services that are available that they can engage in as they actually deepen their relationship with us, is one very important area where we use machine learning. We also use machine learning extensively on our fraud and risk detection platform. I think it's pretty much the foundational pillar for us to actually build trust with our users. At a particular scale, just having rules that are used to block transaction is pretty much useless. It is only patterns and anti-patterns, more importantly, that we can detect, that is based on all the information that we have. Just for one example is, if we have permission to actually have the contact book of a particular user to be able to actually send money, the peer-to-peer send money to hit the mobile mapper, you can imagine that if you have 55 crore users and their contact books, it's pretty much like a graph, a billion node graph that we have. That is a connected graph of the entire population in the country. Transaction patterns across people and anti-patterns on that are an extremely important signal to be able to actually allow, disallow, or even create a hurdle to a particular transaction. And machine learning models working on that immensely support in trying to ensure that fraudsters are not taking advantage of a fast pay, real-time payment system like UPI. Outside of that, systemic detection also is extremely important. Ultimately, we are a glue layer working on top of the payment networks, UPI. UPI itself is a debit first, credit later model, so there are hops that can result in failure. To be able to actually be predictive about the success rate of a transaction, to prevent a consumer from getting into a situation where the transaction fails, is another important area. Then there are multiple opportunities. I think the more important thing for new companies, especially if you're a small startup that is now working in a space of AI, you have to think about the fact that the market is actually resetting. A lot of traditional solutions have now to be looked in from the lens of AI, and that's an opportunity for a new company to build everything from significantly better KYC for partners like the NBFCs, banks, and us, better fraud detection solutions, better productivity tools. So I do believe that there's a huge opportunity. We have to look at the AI wave as a reset and an opportunity to rethink old solution. And I think there lies a huge opportunity for a lot of startups in Kerala to actually invest in.
That's well said, Rahul and Chandan. I think this whole area of AI, ML, and its correlation and its ability to detect cybersecurity frauds, etc., is huge. The RBI hackathon recently that I mentioned was 2 out of the 4 streams were devoted to fraud and fraud detection using AI. So again, given the kind of plethora of talent we have in this state, in particular the engineering and the computer science kind of talent that we have, these are clearly areas of opportunity that we should look at. Yes, a lot of experimentation, but the opportunities are there, and it's really up to the entrepreneurs to seize those opportunities. So let me just come back to you, Himanshu. And while we spoke about SME and the IPO, SME emerge, etc., I just want to step back a little bit. NSE is kind of started as digital only, I think, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the entire principle has been digital, digital, and digital. Give us a sense of what are some of the opportunities you see for potentially entrepreneurs to think about, and in this journey that NSE is building on digital.
Very true. So in fact, the foundation, if I'll say, for NSE is to bring a more, transparency and digitalization in Indian capital market. So that's where when NSE started, we are the one who brought this online trading concept. And to address your question, I mean, there are lots of, opportunities for the investors, for the entrepreneurs through this platform. So where by using it, you can slowly get into the, firstly, from exchange side, we are again talking about, let's say, our SME IPO platform. We are kind of doing a end-to-end hand-holding for companies who are even probably who are not even thinking about getting or coming for IPO. We are starting from giving them guidance and then doing or providing a complete hand-holding for getting the flavor of the platform, who will be the intermediary, what is the requirement, basic eligibility criteria, and till the IPO of those companies, even post that. So we do have a separate platform even for startups, which came around 2020. But yes, the ecosystem is designed in such a way that okay, we are looking forward for first startup to get listed at our exchange platform. But currently, yes, the way investors are showing interest, I'm happy to share now, it's not only restricted to, let's say, retail or DII, even FIIs started investing in SME companies. So that's where it's a great opportunity for a company who's having a confidence about the growth of their journey, where you can go, you can share your journey, you can share your potential, future potential with these investors. And yes, they are looking forward to be a part of your growth journey. So probably that's the one.
Thanks very much for that. I'll take another couple of questions and then go to the audience. So Giri, we were speaking about thing, and Rahul also mentioned it, how India is a land of SMEs, etc., and digital payment, and the ethos and philosophy of Rahul, PhonePe starting with Flipkart challenged on this whole cash issue. So again, NPCI has done a lot of work on this. What more can we expect from NPCI in this whole digital payment solutions, particularly on merchant payments?
See, with 100 million merchants, 60% of being small merchants, where the problem of cash was there once upon a time, right? So UPI came, UPI has facilitated. Obviously, when a small merchant is there, he'll not have the infrastructure, POS machines to accept the digital currency, digital payments. And therefore, the UPI came into play. And also to make the money movement faster, we have already done the 10 settlements in a day. That is that much faster the ecosystem can give the merchant back, so the turnover can be faster. The fintechs and the aggregators stepped in, so they have made the onboarding journey so easy for the merchants now. So the reconciliation, giving money to them is one aspect that has helped them. the transaction trail has created or helped the ecosystem to the lenders, NBFCs to figure out what the merchant is doing, what is the velocity is able to achieve, and therefore it made it easy for them to underwrite. Right from now on, maybe we are also looking at I don't know how much I can tell about this, but we are also looking at, can we get the for Soundbox interoperable? Right now it is tied to a specific app. Now, can we do it interoperable? We are also trying to see that if the payments are being made, if the small businesses or someone, a vegetable vendor or someone, so the feature phone, where that can be used to make payment, can voice-based payment, Hello UPI can be further promoted. That's what we are doing. And also on the other side, as a social responsibility, we are also communicating, educating the customers how safe and how they can be safe in making the digital payments. Therefore, they can adapt easily. The ecosystem can get benefited when everybody does into digital transactions.
Thanks a lot for that. Just coming back on that UPI front, actually a little bit of a tidbit on this. Kerala is home to a lot of non-residents, as we know. And Federal Bank has a very significant share of the NR population as customers. We have about 28% market share. I was recently traveling in the Middle East to meet clients. As Manian mentioned, we did three countries. And the general feedback in Kuwait was, because we did UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait. UAE and Qatar are one amongst the 12 countries that are already where NRIs can come. They feel very left out. They were all asking me, when I come to India, everybody is doing a Google Pay, Phone Pay. Why am I not able to do it? But UAE and Qatar are already in the list. And the Kuwait ambassador, his only point was, I'm working with NPCI to get Kuwait also on that list. So phenomenal progress on that front. I think NPCI International is doing a lot of front. So for all of our friends, relatives, etc., who are NRIs, please tell them they can also do Google Pay, Phone Pay very shortly, even if they have a Kuwait number. Can I have a couple of questions from the audience? Yes. If you have mics, please. Do we have mics, or do you want to borrow these?
Good morning. My name is Shobna Jaymadhavan, and delighted to be here, and an awesome moderation by you, Shalini, and the panel members. My question is around the connection between the amazing innovation and transformation that's happening across India. I've just moved back to India after 30 years in Canada. And I'm one of those people who have been dying to come back, and I'm now actually here. And this is my first conference, and so really happy to be here. My passion is around youth skill development and the future of work. And what I'm trying to understand is, how are leaders like you and organizations like yours connecting with the education ecosystem, right from elementary school to post-graduation, to make sure that students, when they come out, they're ready for this amazingly transformed reality that they're going to get into. When I go and meet students, I've met thousands of students in the last 6 months while giving talks at different institutions. And the biggest fear that students have expressed is they don't have the confidence to apply what they've learned to real life situation. So I'd love to know how the industry education ecosystem connect is happening, and I appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Actually, a very thoughtful question. And I can't really say that from a PhonePe perspective that we are deeply involved in any way to either influence or shape that. But it is something that is very close to my heart, and I do work with certain organizations. I think, and it's relevant to, I think, the topic of discussion also. I think just given the size of our population, the age of our population being a fairly young one, a lot of students graduating in the future, I think there's going to be a significant skew in the number of jobs that will be available vis-a-vis the number of people who will be looking for a job at a very broad level. And I think entrepreneurship and self-creation of jobs and livelihood is something that is very, very, very important in my view. There's this organization called Udyam, which is run by a very close friend of mine. Their mission is to actually, towards the senior years of schooling itself, build confidence in the students to be able to actually look at opportunities around them and see whether they can build small organizations and then from there become almost mid-sized companies. And they start off very small. They train them in a lot of things like the basics of accounting, how to look at a buy and a sell operation. They invest small amounts. They actually create projects around them. And very interestingly, there are a lot of students who have actually started building small companies, fairly successful. Like I just spoke to somebody who had a company that had a turnover of 6 lakhs. Might seem very small, but they say that I have a turnover of 6 lakhs, and this is a 19-year-old, right? So I think it's very important to try and invest in students. If nothing from, they may not create opportunities to build the confidence that they can actually create livelihoods for themselves and a small set of people around them. And I think those are the kind of initiatives that we need in the country.
If I can just add, and I know Himanshu also has a few words to say on this. Stepping back from my role as a moderator, two parts to it. One on CII, which I do a lot of work with. There is an entire stream of work on industry-academia collaboration. So we have literally a panel that is working on enhancing it. We've done some work with, for example, St. Gitt's College in Kottayam and a couple of other colleges of that nature. Can we do more? Absolutely, yes. But I think this recognition that industry and academia have to kind of combine with each other and collaborate with each other is quite strong now. So we are doing some work from CII. On the federal side, as part of our, corporate social responsibility, one of the big things federal bank does is we have something called Federal Skill Academies. We have, I think, about 8 of them across the country now. And these are people who have graduated but are not yet ready, as you said, for the workforce. So we take them into these organizations, into Federal Skill Academy for about 90 days to 120 days. And we give them literally practical training. It could range from, for example, a set of 30-odd women coming in and learning Tally, the accounting software, so that they can go and become accountants in a small entity, to machines like CNCs, lathes, and that kind of stuff, air conditioning things. So various things, preparing them. We haven't yet done anything in the AI world or preparing them for practical use cases on AI and ML, etc. That's something we do want to do. We want to elevate the federal skill academies from being industrial oriented, which it is now, to more entrepreneurial journey. We will do that. But both, and the CII Industry Academy collaboration is something we're very keenly taking forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Just to address, ma'am, just to add one point. In fact, NSC, we are having an separate 100% owned subsidiary, which is known as NSC Academy. So under NSC Academy, we are trying to create a culture or awareness about this financial literacy from the initial stage of the child's education. So where we are already having a MOU with CBSE. So starting from 9th standard, we are having courses, which is like one of the vocational topic, where we are teaching them what is the importance of savings and what is importance of investment, why they should do it. So that is starting from that level, and till today there are lots of universities across India, globally. In fact, the institutions like IM Bangalore, where we are having several courses. As Rahul mentioned about there are lots of people who are having a small account and they are trying to learn about the investment. So we are also having a separate, it's a software which is known as NSmart, where we are providing a virtual money to the students through which they can get a glimpse, they can get an experience at no cost. So that's where we are doing a series of programs, quiz across India, and there are lots of global universities with whom we are having an empanelment, where we are trying to support and bring a kind of a habit of investment in the ecosystem. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning,
Second
everyone.
question.
Thanks for the insightful session. My name is Sakil Suresh. I represent Bitsai, which is the only venture-backed Bitcoin company from Kerala. This is a point in time when you have the BlackRocks of the world going and saying, you have to have at least 1 or 2% of your portfolio into Bitcoin. You have a brand like Standard Chartered actually custodying Bitcoin outside India. And at that point in time, in India, I was speaking with a Fintech senior person here yesterday. He said, his first suggestion was, why don't you go abroad and build this outside India, right? And as entrepreneurs, we are committed to stay in India, stay patient and build it right here. And when a brand like Gullak or Jar, which is again unregulated, gets to work with you guys, when we have AML checks or compliance checks, which are much stricter than some of the regulated platforms, then why do we not get to sit down with you guys and co-innovate, right? Now we have a banker here, we have a payment infra provider, we have a payment gateway service provider. So I would like to understand from you, what can we do differently now so that we can also start engaging with you just like other fintech platforms and work together and create a safe ecosystem for Bitcoin investors in this country. Yeah, thank you.
I'll take it on after that, yeah.
Look, I think this question has been posed quite a few many times, and in my view, the comparison is not right. When you talk about a jar or a gullak, which is primarily into gold savings in extremely small amounts, which is accumulating with very small amounts, and you're talking about something like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, one is extremely speculative while the other is not, right? And that's a very big difference. Societally, I think there have been situations where a lot of people, and this has nothing to do with a specific company or anything else, have been misled to think that cryptocurrency is never going to go down or it's almost like a safe investment, right? Versus something like gold, which traditionally, and especially in Kerala, people would know, has been an extremely safe investment over time. So I think the comparison is wrong. Societally, for a very large platform like us as PhonePe, we take the responsibility of ensuring that if we are working at population level scale, is something that we are offering there applicable and eligible to almost everybody on the platform. And I believe that something like investing in cryptocurrency does not actually meet that bar. That's the simple reason why we don't necessarily look at cryptocurrency within PhonePe per se, available to everybody in the population, right? Having said that, if as a payment gateway and as a payment aggregator, if there is clarity from the regulator and our partner banks in terms of being able to actually process the payment flow transactions for a cryptocurrency player, we would be more than open to do that. I don't think we have that yet.
I agree with Rahul. As wearing a banker's hat, I see this very often, you're right. I think that this is something that the regulator, we will have to do some more work with the regulator. It's even for something as a systemic investment plan, which is probably the more, as Rahul said, like gold, etc. We go through a lot of due diligence before we allow a customer to invest in a SIP. Because financial education is not the most prominent thing in India, right? So the regulator is playing a role in this. I think we'll have to wait for some more clarity from the regulator before we get to that. But happy to keep the conversation going. Okay, I think they'll take one more question. Okay, two more questions. Okay, we have three more questions. I'll try and wrap it up because I do have one more question. If you can keep the question short and quick, it'll help. So I'll come to you in a minute. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. This is Vinod Garg. Ma'am, if you, with the permission of panel, if I can add something to
sure.
reply. I was attending the conference of World Forum of Accountants in Delhi because I am chartered accountant. It's organized by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So there we get the chance to meet CEOs and CFOs of a large public sector undertakings like ONGC and Indian Oils and everything. They have the large funds, large CSR funds to the tune of more than 500 crores. So if you can approach these organizations for the youth development programs, they would be much happy to help you out and in your cause of to raise the youth powers. So that
thank you, thank you.
Second, ma'am,
to my
what I was adding. So my question to Mr. Himanshu is, so if for the benefits of the audience here, if you can, you were saying that 3 years track record is required. Whether 3 years track record as a company or 3 years track record as a business, because in the case, so my second question is also there. So if say 3 years, normally MSMEs and everything, they are, I'm saying, converted from proprietorship firms and small partnership firms into the private limited companies, right? So, or limited companies. So, track record starting from proprietorship or partnership or 3 years from the date of incorporation. This question. Second, what is the percentage of disinvestment which is required? I'm saying offloading is required by the MSME. Is 25% as usual in the large corporate, or is there is something different? And my second question is to, not question is to the Muthus regarding fintech. We in a fintech, if you say the personal loans, the rate of interest is 35% around in the fintechs, and NPAs and credit cost is very, very high, right? People take money and don't pay it back. So my suggestion is, because CRELIC, etc., CRELIC and is applicable only to MSMEs and microfinance, but not in the case of personal loans. So if, like Association of Fintechs, it can create a platform or create a data based upon your Aadhaar card, Aadhaar numbers, that if some person doesn't pay to one fintech, he or she should be barred from taking loans from the other. This cannot be done by the government level or something, some association sort of fintechs. They can certainly reduce the credit cost and consequently cost of the funds to the consumers. Thank you.
We let Himanshu answer very quickly. The technical I won't be able to take any further questions after that, unfortunately. We're running short of time.
Yeah, so very quickly, sir, when we are talking about the track record, it's 3 years operational history, regardless whether you are a partnership, proprietorship, or private limited company. Okay, so let's say you have started your journey today as a proprietorship company. So when you are reaching out to the stock exchange, to NSC, we are looking for a 3 years operational history, be it a partnership company, but or partnership or firm or proprietorship firm. But when you are going ahead for IPO, you will have to change it, because during listing it has to be a limited company. So that will be the process. So precisely, if even it's a partnership or proprietorship, we will consider your track record. That is one. Second one, 25% is the minimum dilution which is required. Okay. Now, one good thing is, probably as a SME company, maybe based out of Kochi, they might think, okay, if they are diluting 25% and coming up with a let's say issue size of 20 CR, what if tomorrow the required amount of subscription is there or is not there? So there is one very beautiful guideline by SEBI, which is our regulatory body. It's about 100% underwriting. This is only there at SME platform. So it's kind of a guarantee. If you are coming up with X amount of IPO size, it's a kind of a responsibility of the merchant banker who's taking your assignment to get it underwrite. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
You can quickly address the credit risk question.
Certainly. So, sir, your suggestion is absolutely valid. I would say there are areas of work where it is happening. Like, for example, we as NBFCs and banks, I could say on behalf of Shalini, we rely a lot on bureau scores actually. And bureau provides much in-depth understanding of the credit worthiness of that particular individual. So various ways in which we look at the transaction history of that individual, we also heavily use the bureau scores as well. One more, which is slightly unrelated, but I'll still talk about, there is a huge way forward which is happening on the way of account aggregator as well. Account aggregator is basically an ecosystem which is being created thanks to our regulator, where we need not rely on what information that individual is providing us, because always there is a question of validity of that information. Now we can actually go directly to the financial institution and take that information. So few of these areas where the work is happening, certainly we will walk a bit more distance and make it much more worthy.
Thanks very much for that. Been told we're running short of time, but I can't resist asking the last question I have. In Federal Bank, we work with a lot of fintechs, and I hear a lot of Malayalam between the fintech owners and my team. You know, they keep chatting with each other. And when I ask them, you know, guys, where are you from? They're all from Bangalore or Pune or some other place. So putting you guys on the spot, Chandan and Rahul, this is for the two of you. What should Kerala do, actually? And this is a very kind of, you know, thoughtful question. What should Kerala do to attract them and retain them here? What is it in the ecosystem that we should work on, which may not happen overnight, but over the next few years we can? So thoughts on that, Chandan, and then Rahul, and then we'll end, yeah?
I think this is a very valid question, and I certainly borrow it from what Mr. Manian was saying and Shalini ma'am, you were talking about. There are two very important things for us to know in Kerala. One, you talked about Bangalore, but I was talking about the company which I run, which is based in Bangalore. And a very large part of my workforce come from Kerala. So one of the big asset which Kerala actually has is the intellectual capital. We should certainly tap on that resource and develop it to the point where this is actually contributing in the state and not possibly outside. That's one. Second, I borrow from the word hackathon actually. And why I'm using the word hackathon, it is very important for our policymakers here to be outwardly looking. What is happening in outside the state, outside the country, and what are the things which are being developing, and adapt that into the state so that we are not left behind. I think that is one area where I would certainly say, and policymakers are working towards it, but if we can move a bit faster and try and make ourselves benchmark with the best possible situations in the country or outside the country, that certainly will help.
Rahul, as a son-in-law of the soil, can you tell us what we should do?
Yeah, my Kerala connection is my wife's from Kerala, the family's from Kottayam, and I love the state and love every city that I've been to, and I've been to quite a bit of Kerala. I'll give a very specific and maybe a more framework kind of answer that might help. I think it takes a lot of years to actually get to that inflection point that and the escape velocity a city like Bangalore has got to, from both a talent and a market perspective. When I say market, the main thing why Bangalore is the hub of innovation is that the talent is there, and the ability to actually create something, get the trials, and create that self-fulfilling feedback loop is amazing, right? You put anything out there, you will get the feedback instantly, whether it is a quick commerce, whether it's a new lending model, whether it's digital payments, it doesn't matter. I think where Kerala needs to score, the talent is already there. The talent is phenomenal, and like Shalini was mentioning, I think the number of Keralites that we have in each of our organizations at all levels is huge. So it's not a problem of talent. I think it's the problem of identifying the opportunities. What we should do is find out something that actually can gain momentum from a local market perspective. Specifically in the fintech space, it could be around gold loans, or some sort of innovation on top of what is gold holding today in partnership with the bank. Second, it could be data oriented. There are a lot of open source data tools. Pulse.phonepe.com is a complete open source on the payments data for the country. A combination of a local opportunity with a partner, I'll put it back to Federal Bank, like Federal Bank, to create something that can actually create a large enough market here is what will set the example for a lot of new entrepreneurs to come in here.
Thank you. Very well said, both Chandan and Rahul. And clearly, that's the path we are on. Anybody going into the Kerala Startup Mission, if you haven't been there in Kalmasheri or Technopark and any of those places, has seen some signs of it, but we need to do a lot more, and that can only happen if we collectively work. It's not just a government responsibility, it's as much our responsibility as a banker, Federal Bank in particular being one of the largest banks in Kerala, as well as the entire ecosystem. But the talent is available. It's up to us now to take it forward. So Chandan, Rahul, Giri and Himanshu, thank you so much for your time and for the insights you've had. Believe we've covered a lot of territory in the last hour and 10 minutes or so. So thank you very much. Looking forward to some more engaging conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists and the moderator. As we near the conclusion of this insightful session, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers for sharing their expertise on building a thriving ecosystem for banking, fintech, and digital innovation. To honor their valuable contributions, I now invite Ms. Shalini Warrior to present the mementos as a token of our appreciation to the panelist members. First up, I invite Mr. Chandan to please receive the memento from our moderator, Ms. Shalini Warrior. Next up, I request Mr. Rahul to please come forward and receive this memento as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. I now invite Mr. Giridhar to please come forward. Thank you, sir, for your expertise. Last but not the least, I would like to invite Mr. Himanshu to please come forward and receive the memento. Thank you to the panelist members. Now to our wonderful moderator who has moderated the beautiful session for us. I now invite Mr. Chandan to please come forward and give her the memento as a token of our appreciation and love, ma'am. Finally, last but not the least, requesting all of you to stand over here for a group photo. Thank you, everyone. The session has come to an end and we shall be beginning our next session shortly.